ready?
I'm ready. No, still ready. Go, go, go!
All right, how's it going, guys? This is episode number 4 of the Go, Go, Go podcast. As always, your co-hosts here, Anthony and Mark. And today we have a very special guest. We have Mrs. Tiffany Tisdel. How are you, Tiffany?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Pretty good, thanks. Mark, the college boy, college kid, college adult. We went over this last week. How are you?
I'm good. I'm decent. I'm just trying to fare with the weather here lately, so that's all.
There you go. Yeah, no, it has been some weather out there, and actually, there was a lot of weather at Daytona this past weekend, right, Mark?
Yeah.
We had to go through a 5-hour and 40-minute red flag after only 14 laps.
Got caught in that vortex.
Have you ever heard the Vortex Theory?
Yes, it's DW's theory.
Yeah.
DW's theory of the cars going around and the rain goes away. But unfortunately, it didn't happen this time. And only 14 laps in, they destroyed like 16 cars. And we had to wait about 5 hours and 40 minutes. So I got to do other stuff in the meantime. But Mark, you got to watch the rest of the race after that, right?
Yeah, we stayed up and watched the race, and it was pretty awesome ending. I mean, yeah.
It was pretty cool. I mean, we've definitely moved away from tandem racing into like single file racing nowadays, and the pushes and shoves happen at the end of the race. And this time, we had a dark horse winner in Michael McDowell. Now he'll be known for something other than spinning around and rolling around at Texas during qualifying, which is actually something that we're going to talk about today.
I should have put money on that race. I mean, I know guys who said they put some money down on all they do was put money down on the people with the most or the least odds to win, and then all of a sudden they're just banking in money there.
So let me tell you this, Mark. For NASCAR, there's always never like a favorite. So everyone, like Denny Hamlin was plus 1,800 plus 800. And for those of you who don't know, that means for every $100 you bet on Denny, if he were to win, you get $800. And Michael McDowell was somewhere in the 20,000. So if you bet $100 on him, you would have won $20,000. But who's thinking that McDriver's actually going to win it, right?
I know. Right?
I called it like pretty close towards the end. I said, "Watch McDowell win this."
I was pretty excited to see him win. Like, I mean, his teammates took each other out, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
It's interesting. It would have been interesting to see their Monday morning meeting between Keselowski and Logano, and to see what happened because Keselowski was a little pissed. Mark.
I don't know if they even talked about it yet because I just seen an interview with Logano today saying something about they haven't really spoke about it yet, but it's just something where we just got to move on.
For sure. I mean, they're going to have to move on. They're teammates, and it's the first race of the season. There's nothing more to do. But it was a scary crash. I mean, especially after going what happened with Newman last year with the whole incident of going to the hospital and possibly thinking another fatality. Since Dale Earnhardt. So it was sad to see that the incident for the race win, someone's winning, other people are losing. And Keselowski actually got T-boned by Kyle Busch. Luckily, it was on the passenger side. Big flames and everything. And it goes to show that everything that we talked about last episode about the innovations that NASCAR has done for the car, safety gear for people, and everything pretty much worked. And, people left without injury. Always a good thing, right?
Oh, for sure.
For sure. Moving on, we will say that this weekend is the start of the Ara Championship, which is a championship that Mark and I participate in. However, unfortunately, Mark and I will not be partaking in the first round out in Michigan for Snowdrift. Snowdrift is an event out in Michigan that's, as its name says, done in the snow.
Super cold.
It's one of the more harder events. Sometimes you have no control. And as per the ARA rulebook, we're not allowed to use any spike tires or anything that aids you. At most, you can run snow tires, but as we all know, until you get to some temperatures, you lose traction. You have no traction, and so we'll see a lot of cars doing this. As a matter of fact, I saw a video of Pastrana practicing, and he spun his car into the banking, snow banking there. I don't know if you saw that.
So I didn't see the video yet. Now,
yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's nice how he cropped it on his Nitro Circus story, but the full video shows what he did. But yeah, good luck to everyone racing out there this weekend. Hopefully, we'll have some good stories. A lot of friends and people that we know will be racing there, and we wish them nothing but the best.
Yeah.
All right. So the main event of today is for us to share a story that's personal to Mark and I, with racing with the Rally America Championship, which is now the ARA Championship. In 2016, June of 2016, Mark and I were competing in Rally STPR, which is our home rally up in Willsboro, Pennsylvania. From Philadelphia, it's about 4 hours, 4.5 hours, and from Mark's house in Delaware is probably a lot more.
It's about 5.
Yeah. Well, when Mark's driving, it's probably less than that too.
More than that.
But we all follow regulations, follow the speed limit, and wear our seatbelts at all times.
Yeah.
So, Mark, what I want us to talk about today is about our role. It was our first accident in a race, my first accident, your first accident. And I just kind of wanted to talk about our different perspectives on what actually happened that day. And having our guest here, I want to have her perspective, some of her earlier rallies, attending there, kind of being on the crew side / spectator side, what she knew, what she didn't know. For those of you who don't know, rallies are really done in the outskirts of major cities. They're up the side of mountains. Sometimes there's seldom signal, maybe no signal. And we're just out there, sometimes with no communication. The only communication we have is other cars going by, relaying information. And so in 2016, we were driving my Ford Fiesta ST in the front wheel drive category, her class, and we were out there to perform. And so we had done recce. Recce is reconnaissance of where we're going to race the next day. Recce was done under dry conditions, sunny conditions, as things can be out there. And so we had certain notes that indicated what turns were fast, what turns were slow, where we can push a little bit more, where we couldn't. And so, Mark, why don't you take us through recce that day and recce in general, what it is that we do?
So for recce, you're basically just going over they'll usually give you a logbook that you can go over, and that'll show you kind of like the basic idea of what the stages look like. Some guys like to draw their own up and basically write on their entire route book by themselves. And usually they'll put tape on the steering wheel, and that'll kind of give them some guys use a 1 to 6, or some guys use a 1 to 9, a little bit more complex for the steering angle. So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, recce for that STPR was fine. It was nice and dry day the first day for recce. The second day was actually the first day of the rally, and it was pretty dry on day 1 of the rally. We got really wet on the second day. We had some rain come through,
right.
some storms too the night before. So,
right.
That's just kind of how that went.
No, for sure. It's one of those things. Rally is one of those motorsports where it's run in all types of weather conditions. It doesn't matter if it's raining, snowing, dry, whatever the case may be. We usually run unless there's lightning, and sometimes there's protocols for that. But Tiffany, let me turn it over to you before we continue with the story, and let me ask you. You meet Mark, you go out with him, you get married. He tells you, hey, I race cars and I am a co-driver and I'm doing this stuff with this kid Anthony up in Philadelphia. Tell me your initial thoughts about that. Did you know much about the sport, or how did you kind of gain some knowledge?
No, so we weren't married yet. We were only like a year really into dating. And I remember him telling me, of course, when we first started, seeing each other, I'm a race car driver. I race in rallies. And I remember saying it to my dad, and, that he plays guitars and he races cars,
Ooh, what a
like,
bad boy.
I know. I was like, oh, but my dad was like, Tiff, sometimes if it sounds too good to be true, it is too good to be true. And then when he took me out to one of them, first was Nefer, which is when I met you. And then we went to this rally, and that's when I got a general idea for rally after that, but I didn't get a full picture of it.
You didn't know what you were getting into.
No. So the first thing, I was like, okay, he's not full of crap. He's in a race suit and he's like signing autographs for these cute little kids. And I was like, I'm sold.
Aww.
And then, but yeah, I had no idea until that day how, like, I'm familiar with motorsports. Like, we used to go to the Buck all the time growing up. So we'd see a lot of the, I call that rednecks motorsports because it's a lot of like tractor pulls and fun stuff. When I grew up,
hey, I like tractor pulls, like the next of them. I actually want to do that one day. I think it's cool.
Dude, I got a place. You guys should do it. Do they need co-drivers for that?
I don't think so.
No, that's a single guy sport, but I think it's cool. But then again, I go against everything that people believe that I should believe in. But I think it's cool.
Okay, so we need to now set a time that we all go to the Buck together.
Oh, I'm all about it.
Yes.
Let's go mudding.
Yes.
I've never done mudding, but I want to go mudding.
Yes,
they do that
that's
too.
fun.
It's a good time. That I usually do that on the same night. So tractor pools, the mud bog, and what was the other one?
Tough trucks.
Well, tough trucks is a different night, but
that's my favorite. I like tough trucks, but regardless, those are very structured compared to. I mean, rally's structured, but you're out in the middle of nowhere. There's no like arena. It's like, okay, you're going to this forest and this trail over here, and then over here. I just had no idea how close to the wall.
Did Mark ever give you like an idea of what to expect, or were you kind of just put there and like, see, I'm going with Anthony, and it's your turn to figure it out?
Yeah, I mean, I can hold my own. So, but yeah, I was pretty much like, okay, you're going to go hang out with these guys. We're going to go in the car. And I was like, cool, I'll make friends.
Kind of went into it. Yeah,
I did, but I don't care.
No, for sure. It's a different experience because most people are aware of the traditional motorsports, NASCAR, Formula One, where you're in an arena and it's basically you get to see the cars at all time, depending on the length of the track and whatnot. But rally, we're out in the middle of nowhere. There are spectating areas that are safe for spectators to be at. But unfortunately, once they go past one time, unless they're going to go through that stage again, you don't get to see the cars anymore, which is why it's always been difficult for rally to be able to be televised. Now, the WRC gets to do it because they have an unlimited budget. They have choppers and factory teams and everything. But us in little old America, we don't have that. It's one of those things where if you're new, you really don't know what you're doing, where you're going, how you're going. It's a lot of new things. But let me ask you this, Tiffany. So you get to the event and, you see us, you see Mark in his cute little race suit, signing autographs, doing his thing. And you see other race cars out there. So what are your first impressions of what's going on there?
So of course, Park Expose, like, I don't think for Nefer, like, we spectated Nefer, but we didn't go to like Park Expose.
We did, but it was like super rainy and cold.
It was rainy.
Yeah. Also, I remember was like the big bear from the ski resort. So we actually did Park Expose at STPR, and I was just like, oh my God, this is so cool. And I loved that, like, NASCAR. I mean, even when I was little, it was still so distant. Like, you were in your camper and then you were in the race, and like you could walk around.
A little inaccessible, yeah.
Yeah, where rally, it's like I just walk up to these dudes and have a conversation, and much later in life, realize that you can just walk up to them and ask how they stop their windshield from fogging up, which is a total later conversation. But Yeah, so how accessible it is, how real the people are. And then I recognized Travis Pastrana right away because I grew up in the skater era and I was really into the X game type stuff. So I was like, oh, we got like big namers in here too. I was a little starstruck.
So Pastrana brought credibility to you, bro.
He did. You better thank him.
Maybe we should say a big thank you to Travis Pastrana for getting you guys together.
That's it.
He essentially put the blue check mark on your relationship.
It was that final box. Is he full of crap or is this like real?
It's like a Twitter moment where you get verified, right?
You got verified.
That's what I'm saying with the blue check mark. You guys didn't pick up on that. We're on a minute delay here.
I'm telling you, I got the joke, man. That's what I'm saying.
I didn't.
Travis is racing this weekend, so thanks a lot. But you made, I don't know which way, this way. You made this happen.
Whatever.
Can't wait till this comes out and you're pointing the wrong way.
Jesus.
Hey, I'm still a newbie at this. This is only episode 4.
Go like this. You can't be wrong.
We'll edit it later. But all right, so let's move a little bit forward. So actually, speaking about Travis Pastrana, if you remember this, Mark, and I'll be the first to admit to yes, I'm a huge Ken Block fan. I'm a huge Pastrana fan. If you remember about that particular weekend, we were actually doing stuff with Travis. If you remember when we went to the practice stage, we were running behind Pastrana. We did 3 practice stages right behind Pastrana.
Yes.
I have pictures with us, doing that. So he was launching in front of us.
There's video of us at the start line waiting for him to go. It was pretty sweet.
Yeah, no, I thought it was the coolest thing. I was probably fangirling a little bit.
I know the feeling. It's fine.
Not only that, when we were done practice, I went to go get the car washed, and Travis's people were washing his car, so we got to wash our cars together.
Did you ever get a picture of that?
Of course, I got a picture. No,
Autograph your friend's
because
car.
unlike us, Travis has people that go clean his car for him. I have to go clean my own car. So, different levels. I'm trying to figure out which arm I'm doing here.
There you go. Which one's you?
I got people to clean my car too.
See, you have. I need to find someone to help me clean my car. Maybe someday.
He's right here.
There you go. He's a co-driver. We don't need him.
But yeah,
I should keep my mouth shut. That'll be the next job I acquire.
Hey, honey, do you want that state you were talking?
You said you wanted to roll. Go clean the car.
Yeah.
So, Mark, if you recall that day, the stage in which we rolled was stage 10. It was an 11-stage event for 2 days.
Right.
I thought it was 7, but yeah, I do remember.
No, it's 10. I actually have video of you saying this is stage 10 because I didn't know what stage it was.
I do remember. Because 7 was the second stage of the day, and we were pretty far into the day. It was after the first service. So
we're at second location, right?
We were in Germania at that point.
Germania, yeah, that's when.
So we had come into Germania for what would have been our last service. We were going to stage 10, and once you get to stage 10, knowing that there's one more stage, you're kind of know you're at the end. You want to finish strong, and you want to make sure that we don't break the car, take care of it, and just want to bring it fully. We want to bring the car and us back to the finish line, back to where it all started. Now, I will say that because I knew that we were going to stage 10, and then stage 11 was the last stage. Stage 11 was actually going to be a 20-miler stage. And actually, Mark, do you remember what happened to us on stage 11 during rec?
I don't.
Oh, I don't know this.
I actually don't remember.
We got caught speeding.
That's right.
Oh, wait. Was this I was going to say this earlier. Was this the rally that you and Pastrana? Wow, words.
Yes.
You guys both got the speeding penalty.
Except they took his away, and I, of course, kept mine. I guess my name isn't strong enough.
Okay. Has someone wash his cars and gets penalties taken away? This is unfair.
Dude, I'm telling you.
You know what? I feel like I got to go talk to Travis now the next time we see him.
You know what? He earned it. He got us together.
There you go. Thanks, Travis, again.
Full circle.
But anyway, so yeah, we did get penalized in in recce because you're only allowed to go, I think it was like 30 miles an hour, and I was going a little bit faster. And I know Mark is usually good on telling me to slow down, and I'm usually get frustrated and angry when he tells me to slow down. So we have our days.
I tell you what, with recce, sometimes you're not even looking at the speedometer. We were going down a hill too, remember?
Right.
It was downhill. So
well, they do that on purpose because they want the guy with the speed gun wants to be hidden so that you don't see them coming, and then you get tagged with a penalty.
What does he have a quota like the cops?
Recce too. I mean, you're sitting there, you're like falling asleep. You've been up all night the night before, and you're just like, oh man, this is a long day at 30 miles an hour. You're doing the whole rally in one day. It's like, ugh.
I mean, recce is one of those things where it's so boring, but it's a necessary evil, as we come to find out. So, which is why we don't recommend anyone ever skipping on recce, and doing it to the best of our abilities. But so moving forward, I knew that stage 11 was going to be the longest stage. So we had a GoPro. At that time of day, I was trying to save batteries, trying to save memory cards. So I was like, Mark, I'm going to turn off the GoPro for stage 10, and then we'll put it back for stage 11 because that's going to be a cool stage. It's super fast. It had a lot of long straightaways, and I thought the footage from that video would have been great. So we go to stage 10. I remember we're at the start line. We get the 3, 2, 1. Everything's happening. We're going. We're at this point. We're on pace. Mark's yelling out great notes. I'm following left, right, whatever we got to do. I want to say it was about 5 or 6 miles into the stage. We once again meet Travis Pastrana. This time, he had rolled his car onto the side of the road, and he was actually standing on this little mountaintop, kind of watching cars go by. So in my head, I was like, yes, we finally beat Travis. I don't care.
That was the second time he had to issue that rally, because remember they took a door off the recce car
on the first day.
Yeah, for Travis's car.
First day, yeah.
So I was happy in my mind. I'm still racing, but I'm like, we finally beat Travis Pastrana. I don't care if it's because he rolled. As long as we finish this, we're going to beat him. Well, about a mile later, not a mile later, Mark calls a left turn. I don't remember the number of the turn. He calls a left turn.
It's left 3.
I pull left, and I'm thinking, and now all this happens in the span of maybe 5 seconds, 3 seconds. All I remember is I turn the wheel left, and the car's still going straight. At that moment, time kind of froze a little bit. Not to be all, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is.
Dramatic.
Dramatic is the exact word. But it froze in time like those movies. Like I actually had a Ricky Bobby moment. And if anyone's seen Talladega Nights, when Ricky Bobby's flipping over, they do a zoom into his face. He's like, okay, I guess I'm upside down. I had that moment. And I'm like, I'm upside down. So we roll. Mark and I, to this day, I don't think we know how many times we rolled. It could have been anywhere from 1 to 3 to 4 times, but we did hit something that stopped us from going anything further down. And at the bottom, there was a little creek, so that would have been interesting if we went to that part. And there was a house on the other side, I remember, because it was essentially we landed in someone's backyard, up in the woods.
Technically their front yard.
Technically their front yard.
Yeah.
But so we roll, and the car comes to a stop. Luckily, it came to a stop on all 4 wheels. And all I remember is saying, Mark, are you okay? Now, what felt for an eternity, Mark didn't say a word. And I'm again, Mark, are you okay? As I'm fucking trying to punch his chest. And Mark's not moving. He's not doing anything. Now, he responded in what was probably about 3 seconds. At least this is from my recollection. And probably what it's at least 3 seconds. But it felt like 3 hours. And he's like, I'm okay. I'm like, are you sure? Are you okay? And Mark's like, yes, I am. And like, I'm touching my arms, touching my legs. I'm like, am I all here? Did I break anything? And I seem relatively fine. I asked Mark, he's fine. So we were able to get out of the car, inspect the damage. And there was nothing we can do for us physically to get the car out of there. As far as any injuries, I didn't have any, except for the fact that when we rolled, my hand hit the roof of the car. And when it came down, it smacked the shifter. And so my palm got blue, green, black, and every other color in the rainbow for a couple of days. And then I that was about the extent of any injuries, which, we could be grateful for. And talking about, what we talked about last week with Dale Earnhardt and the innovations for safety, what we do is professional racing at the Rally America level. It's the highest level of rally in America. And so we are required to have what every race car should have: a roll cage, a safety harness, the Hans device that we talked about, Dale Earnhardt, and how that may have saved his life. I know that the Hans device definitely had its job to do when we rolled, because I know between the Hans device and the harness, it kept us strapped to the car, so we didn't move. So it helped us, and the structure of the car with the cage, everything did its job. We were okay, relatively okay, and couldn't be thankful enough about those safety innovations. Which is why I always say, do not skimp on the safety stuff. Yes, there's cheap stuff and there's expensive stuff. But your life is priceless, and that was one of those days where it really made me realize how precious life is. Not that I didn't before, but when you go through an experience like this, and at that time, I was less worried about myself, and I was more worried about Mark, because at one point I did think that Mark was dead. I will say it. In 3 seconds that Mark didn't respond, I'm like, a million ideas went through my head. I'm like, what am I saying to his family? What am I saying to Tiffany? What am I saying to my family? What am I saying to myself? And like, all these ideas really just ran through my head so fast. I mean, after we got out of the car and people saw that we came, the ambulance came to check on us about half an hour later, because that's how rally is. Like, I did nothing but stand there and start crying. I'm not usually a crier. But I literally just cried there, and I didn't know why I was crying. I was crying because it was a sad moment in my life. I was crying because I knew that I would have to pay to fix the car. And I was crying because, I could have hurt my friend. And Mark came over and just gave me a big hug, and we both just hugged in the middle of the stage. Luckily, there's no witnesses to this. There's no video.
There is now.
Dude.
But Mark was very comforting. And, he told me everything was going to be okay. And like, in that moment, it's just him and I, because there's no one else that can help us. There's no one else that can be in that moment. And so it was nice, Mark. And I don't think we've ever really, we've talked about the role, but I don't think things like that. It was nice. And it was really appreciated, because it would have sucked to have been there just by myself. Then we finally, 3 hours later, we had a tow. The guy who came over to tow a car was freaking asking me for a credit card. He was asking me for checks. I'm like, sir, I'm in a race car. I don't have any of this for you. What am I going to do? So that's my perspective of things.
Yeah.
But I've talked a lot now. Mark, please tell me your side of things, kind of from the moment we rolled to, I guess, the moment we got the tow truck, because I really want to hear your perspective. And then, Tiffany, your perspective is coming next too.
So I know that, like, right before the roll, the road kind of changed. The road surface kind of changed there, and we were having it was getting very slick very quickly. Maybe just a few corners before we got to that point. You had slowed down quite a bit because of that. But yeah, I can remember you turning the wheel, hitting the brake, letting go of the brake to try and get the traction back, and there was nothing. We had nothing, and we were going straight for a tree. So I was just figuring, we were slowing down quite a bit and quickly, just not fast enough. So I was like, okay, we're just going to nose into this tree, and then we'll just try and back out, or maybe we'll just be stuck here, and we'll get pulled out. And then, and I again kind of had just like you, the same moment where it's like, oh, we're upside down. Oh, wait, hold on. I was like, are we rolling? I was like, is this happening again? And I've got my hands kind of tucked up. I actually put one of my hands on the roll bar. I shouldn't do that, but I was like, holy crap, we are upside down. And it's just like you said, it feels like an eternity, is going by. And really, it's a couple of seconds. It was a soft roll, thank God, because of the rain and the moss and stuff where we landed. But we did take out a couple of little saplings too on the way down, and that's probably why we slowed down so much.
Right.
And then you asked me like if I'm okay, and you started freaking out. I was like, "Are you okay?" Yes. So I was totally fine. I just was getting my bearings, catching my breath, and that's just kind of how that happened. So yeah, I mean that was the roll for me from my side of the car. I mean, I didn't slam my hand on anything.
You had a couple bruises from like the straps, but that was
yeah, where the belt and the Hans device base it, I was bruised up pretty good. But I mean, as
That's
far as
actually
like
what it's
injuring
supposed
myself,
to do. Like it's
yeah, for
to do it,
sure.
so it means it worked the way it was supposed to.
Exactly. And yeah, we were good to go.
How about that guy asking me for a freaking check? I can't believe that till this day.
Oh yeah,
like, sir, can you give us a check?
Blew my mind. It's like, dude.
Can you imagine
They probably all
Johnson
still use
crashing
checks
and
up
the
there.
ambulance, the two guys like, hey, can you pull out your wallet and give me a check?
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. Dude, so I will say that after the roll, everything we're good. We're hugging it out in the woods. You said we didn't have any witnesses, but there was like a whole family of people walking up to come inspect the damage, and they offered beer, and I was like, okay, where's the beer?
Yes.
Where is the beer? And like they didn't have the beer with them, and I was like, how are you gonna offer me a beer, not just? Oh man!
Do you know what I've been through?
Selling pieces of the car and giving it to their kids. Like they're like, "Oh, we have beer down there." I'm like, so bring me one. Don't talk about it. Be about it. They were cool. I mean, yeah.
No, I kind of forgot about that, but now I remembered.
So here's my question. So I'm like taking pieces off of the car and signing it. What are you thinking at that? Like I know your nerves were like shot, and like I totally get that, but I'm just kind of like, oh, here, dude, this little kid's here. Like, you want a piece of the car? Like, we're not gonna do anything with this.
Here's the thing, Mark. So, a lot of things went through my head. Like I said, about possibly something happening to you. Thinking about the worst. But one thing that I can never turn off of my brain is when it comes to finances. And of course, the one thing that I always remember is, once we made sure that you were okay, I was okay, and all that, it was just looking down the side of the mountain and looking at my car down there and being like, I'm going to have to fix this. And not for nothing, one works hard to be able to get the things that we have. And, as you know, I literally bought that car and took it straight to Billy Petro to get it built. And so, it kind of hurt too to see that something that I have or that I own could have been terminally damaged. I mean, at that point, yeah, we looked at it, but we didn't really know what was bad with it until,
we turned it off. I mean, it rolled over, we turned it off, and then that was it. I mean, it fired. We started it up. We fired it up. We're like, oh my God, it runs. It's fine. The car is totally fine. Where we were, we would have never got out without a wrecker.
Sure.
There were some bushes in the way. There was a driveway, but it's so slick. There's just no way we would have made it up, especially not with an open diff. So
for sure. Now, Tiffany, now we come to you. Now, this is what happened in the moment. And the situation that we were dealing with. Now, what was the situation that you guys were dealing with? Because essentially you were part of the team that day, forever now, but that day specifically, you were part of the team. You were with our service crew. And so any message that would get relayed to you guys, you would be able to hear. So what messages were relayed? Did you know anything? What did you know?
So I was the first to hear that you guys had rolled. I was walking around the paddocks. I was looking at, what everybody was doing. And I just happened, one of the workers walked by with their walkie-talkies, and I heard 648 rolled down an embankment. And I was like, huh? Excuse me, what? Yeah, because again, I'm thinking that this is an overall, I don't know why I would think it was a tame motorsport. It just didn't occur to me that like you guys are racing in the mountains. You could roll down a mountain, but you just don't think of those things.
Right.
So, and they're like, they rolled down about a 60-foot embankment. And I'm like, well, holy hell, that's a long way down. And I'm all about it now because clearly you guys are okay. But I'm like, what the? I mean, hold on. He brought me to his death. Great. I'm here for this. I got to tell his mom. The same thing you're like, what am I going to tell his mom? So I immediately go back to the crew and I relay it to them. I think Chris was running it at that time, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm relaying it to them and they're like, what? So they're talking about sending the truck out. They immediately send the truck out. They know it's on stage 10. They said, Sweep saw you. But other than that, it became like radio silence, like very quickly. So I went to, some time had passed. I had gone to command center. And that's how I met Billy Petro. I don't know that he remembers this. I don't know that he would even remember me. But I was in command, like, do you guys know? Because it was starting to get dark, too. So I was like, do you guys even know where they are? And they're like, no, we can't find them. What do you mean you can't find them? That's not a thing. And Billy just goes, sweetheart, this is STPR. They could be out there till 6 a.m. I was like, that's it. I'm out of here. I can't even deal with this right now. Like I couldn't digest that information. And I'm like, they can't be out. They're from Philly and Newcastle. They can't be out in the woods with bears. And so I was being a total female about it, but I don't think I was showing it. I was like, yeah, everything's fine. They just rolled down a mountain. It's great. So we waited around and just waited, and it felt like forever. And I think it took you guys till 9 o'clock. I want to say 9 or 10 o'clock when we seen the record come up.
Pretty late.
It was past the banquet already. But the one part that I guess we forgot to mention is that once Mark and I got out of the car and sat down and waited for the record, we had 0 cell phone bars.
Oh, yeah.
So we didn't have any communication with anyone. The only one we could communicate was the first car that passed us as per protocol to let them know what happened to us and that we were okay. And then the ambulance that came and checked us out. And when I say checked us out, they came and said, hey, are you okay? Yes. Hey, are you okay? Yes. Would you sign this waiver that says that we checked you? And then that was it.
Did they leave? They just left you there?
Yeah. Not that we needed much more checking or anything. I mean, they did ask us, do you need anything? But it was just a quick, like, here, sign this so we don't get in trouble. And they kept on going.
We did our job.
But at that time, also, like the Rally Safe app wasn't a real thing, at least not in Rally America, I don't think. And so it proves that the new innovations that even the sanctioning body is doing and the series is doing to be able to track cars where they are, even if they are on the side of a mountain and go find someone, it is pretty cool. I mean,
so they're doing Rally Safe for snowdrift, aren't they? I think this is the first event.
I believe
I sound stupid. What's Rally Safe?
So it's essentially a GPS that you put in the car. And then you have the Rally America app or the ARA app. Actually, no, Mark, we had it in New York. Remember, because we had to get the extra installation installed, and they didn't like how we put the cable in or whatnot. But we got the GPS in the car, so it's essentially just to show where we are at all times. And
I didn't know it had a certain name.
if that car can do it out there, we sure as hell can do it here. So
definitely a welcomed innovation for me, I will say.
It is
I don't think we had that in the car then, did you?
You did not. We could not find
that
you.
didn't exist there.
Nobody knew where you guys were.
I think NASA had it, but yeah, no, at that time
it was very.
I also remember my phone probably had about 10 to 15% battery, and we were just playing music off of the radio off of the phone because we had nothing else to do there for 3 hours. And it actually started to rain on us before the old guy with the record came. So we just sat there in the rain, like, yay!
No,
rain and mosquitoes, and it was like blistering hot out. It was just
and the part that Tiffany said about the bears, that's true because we've seen colorful bears with Mama Bear, Papa Bear, and baby bears. So
once we got pulled out there with bears, you remember we were turning around and we made a left-hand turn, and there was like a whole freaking thing of bears. I was like, what?
I'm pretty familiar with PA Mountains. I was like, there's bears up there. I don't know that either of them would know what to do. Bears.
No, but you know what? I've had some lessons in the wilderness now that I may be able to deal with a bear. You just have bear spray on you. We'll have to add
bear
that to the list.
Spray.
Oh, when I went to Montana last year to go hiking, I learned about bear spray. It's this huge can, and it only sprays for like 5 seconds, but you're supposed to spray it and leave, and it's kind of like bug repellent, but for bears. It's an actual thing.
I feel like it just disorients them. Like,
I feel like
Well,
it's bear spray. No, what it is a fire extinguisher.
I will tell you, when I bought the bear spray, I guess the guy obviously saw that I was out of town in Montana. So he's like, hey, just make sure you point it the right way, because usually you just point it the wrong way and then you're in trouble. And then at that point, you just don't have to be faster than the bear, just faster than the guy you're with.
Oh my gosh.
That's it.
It's like all those movies where they like trying to pepper spray somebody.
Just the
point it
wrong
right
way.
there. It's like,
I feel
Hey,
like
so-
that's a Jim
so
Carrey movie.
Actually, remember how go circling back to Pastrana, because he's the topic of the day today. How he had the scuba gear inside the door panel for the Hoonigan?
yes.
for-
Yeah, the
for-
little air pack. Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna have that with bear spray for our car
Bear
next time.
spray.
Yes. Okay, that's so necessary.
The door pocket. But we're gonna have it like molded in too. So like this is where this goes.
This is our bear spray.
In the garage sale door panel.
It's a separate fire extinguisher, and it's just labeled B
Yes.
for bears.
I mean,
bears.
I will say, as much as stress as this event cost us, because with rally, it's always you're not going fast enough. You're not rolling at some point. It's going to
Yeah.
happen at some point in your career, whether you want it or not. And like Mark said, this roll was less of a driver error and more conditions. I guess that can include driver error as well. But stuff happens, and that happens when you're racing in a sport that you're not going around the same track 100 times and you're familiarizing yourself with what's going on, or a caution flag can be thrown out. There's no caution flag thrown out in rally. You go, and whatever happens. You could start sunny in one side, it can rain in the middle, and then snow at the end. And you just have to be prepared for what's coming to you. But I will say, like, rolling did not scare me away from racing. At some point, I want to say I didn't want to feel indestructible, because that would be a little arrogant to say, but it kind of gave me confidence that if I rolled once and I was okay, not to say that it's okay to roll again, but once you did it, you kind of get that fear out of the way, and you might be able to go a little bit faster.
As soon as you get the first one done, you're good to go.
Good to go. And luckily, this event wasn't tragic. It could have been, but it wasn't. And for my palm to be the only major extent, and your bruises on your chest to be the only major extent, I think we can.
My heart failure.
Thanks, and your heart failure, and you meeting Billy Petro and finding out things. So it was great to go around, but I think if anything, it made us stronger. Not to sound emotional again. But it made us stronger, and I think it made our relationship a little bit better, just knowing that we could go through something like this and be able to come out the other way good. Now, as we had this, I guess, this sad story, there's going to be other times where we're going to tell you guys some good stories, some good podiums, some good finishes, and things like that. But all right, Tiffany, this question's for you. So you see Mark, you see me, we're back and everything. What was the ride home like? Did you curse him out? Did you say, why would you bring me to this? Did you say, I'm ready to go to the next event? What was your train of thought or your conversation there? And please keep it PG.
He knows me. I honestly don't remember. I mean, we were just like newly together, so we were probably like, oh my goodness, I could have lost you. I don't know, probably, but
Not really.
no, I don't think I was. I was just like, so is this normal? And he was like, yeah, there's a saying around here, and it's not if you're gonna roll, it's when you're gonna roll. And I was like, got it, that's what this sport is. Cool. Now that we got it, was the same, like, now that you guys got it out of the way, I got it out of the way, so I'm ready for anything.
Welcome aboard.
That was like honestly the best send off or like initiation into rally. It's just like, hey, come with us while we try to kill ourselves. And now I'm like, cool, I can handle this.
I mean, it's fun. Mark will say it's been fun doing this with Mark, and we still have a lot of races more to go. This wasn't the end of our racing. It took us a while to get back in the car, and we were happy and glad that we got to do it last year in New York. Hopefully we can get to do it in New York again this year and see where things fall. But we do have future plans, and those plans will come to fruition at some point, and we'll talk about those plans in future episodes. But yeah, so are you still giving him permission to go racing? Because I think that's what this was all leading up to, because I want it on tape around the world that Tiffany still gives Mark permission.
Let's not forget when we need
permission.
Does Mark need? That's the bigger question. Does Mark need permission? Because I'm pretty sure when you want Mark to do a rally, you talk to me first.
Well, you're his like agent and manager and all of the above.
I'm just kidding. No, I'm constantly
like real. Like I don't know what to say here.
Huh?
Mark, do you need permission?
No.
I encourage it highly. Like I can't wait for the next rally, especially like since the New York one as well. I'm just like, I was just yesterday at work with a buddy at work that we used for the New York rally, Russell, if you remember. Right. We were on my computer at work checking the rally schedule, like what can we convince them to sign up for?
Yeah, no, it's one of those things. It's fun. I mean, if it were up to me, I'd be doing the entire schedule. Now that Mark's getting a big promotion and everything, we'll make sure that he gets some more time off. He'll be the big boss on campus now with a college degree. Look at you, man. We just gotta dirt off your shoulder. But
doing big things.
Doing big things, man. Doing big things. We're proud of you.
We're proud of you. Yeah.
There you go. See? All right. Mark, in conclusion, anything you want to say?
No, not really.
No.
I don't really know what to say, man. Good luck to everybody at Snowdrift this weekend, and excited to watch the road course race for Daytona. And that's pretty much it. That's all I've got on my mind right now.
How about you, Tiffany? Well, what will you end us with today?
Oh gosh.
And it better be inspirational, Shakespearean-like, and emotional.
Yeah, a lot less like what I just said.
The pressure.
Yeah. Don't say what I said.
You expect this exquisite language. I don't have it for you.
No, coming from her, it ain't gonna happen.
It ain't gonna happen. No, all I gotta say is let's go rally. When's the next one? Let's go.
There you go. I like that. So yes, we do have plans on racing this year, whether Mark knows it or not.
I didn't know. I had no idea.
I will be calling Tiffany and getting the schedule together. Again, with the pandemic and things have been a little bit slower. But as the championship starts this weekend, obviously we know that we got to get our house in order to make sure that we can do this. Make sure we have good racing belts this time. That will be a story for another day. But no, thanks, Mark, for sharing this story. I know it's more of a private story. I don't think we've ever shared it explicitly out to the world like this before.
No, I think we wrote like a little blurb on Facebook when it happened, but I don't.
There was a blurb.
It was
right.
Yeah. And, most of my things like that are just a little bit of a blurb, and I don't like. Hey, guess what? And I think there's a picture of me like this.
Yes.
And then there's the car down the embankment. Like, hey, guess what, guys? Somebody. Actually, I don't know if you remember this too. When the crew got to where we were supposed to be, they were like, "Oh, we found the stupid triangle."
Yeah. Don't get me started on the whole crew thing, because the record came back with you guys and Chris did it, and I was like, "Uh-oh." There was hell to pay.
Remember when the ambulance got to us? They're like, "Where's the car?"
Yeah. I was still there. You were still down at the car, and that's what he said. He said, "Where is the car?" And I said,
"It's down there."
Down there. He said, "Well, you're going to need something heavier than what we got to get that out of there." I was like, "Okay."
Yep.
Oh man, what a day,
guys! Well, Tiffany, thanks for joining us this week. Mark, you as well as every week, and like Mark said, we'll be happy to see what happens with the Daytona road course. We'll be happy to see what happens at Snowdrift, and we'll be coming back to you guys soon with episode 5, and we'll see what we have up for episode 5. In the meantime, follow us, like us. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, every other podcast hosting service out there. YouTube, please subscribe. Hit our likes. We need that algorithm to keep going and spitting us out to the rest of the world. So until next time, I will see you guys.
Bye.